You don't sound like you believe me.
I don't.
You've not got much enthusiasm for this amazing segment, have you? Is that a yes? It sounds like a yes. Show me a why.
This is SingStar Podcast.
King Henry VII of England, of course, because there's so many King Henrys of, China, was born today. But he was the last ever king to win his throne like a badass, the awesome way, by killing the previous king. The only real way to win a throne, by just kicking the ass of the other guy. But he was the last one to do it.
That's kind of sad.
I know, I'd quite like to see our current queen in a fight to the death.
Yeah, right.
I think she'd kick some ass. I think she'd own it up hard.
I wonder if that is still, legal if you can challenge the head of state, being the queen, to mortal combat and win the crown.
No, I think if you tried to challenge the head of state to mortal combat, you would basically just be shot.
Probably, yeah. Disappointing.
Elijah Wood was born today.
Who gives a shit?
How did I know you'd say that? Do you remember it? Have you ever seen Sin City?
No.
It took me a while to realise it was Elijah Wood in that. Cause he plays a really creepy guy.
So what's different?
Well, I don't know, would you say Frodo is creepy?
Yeah. Frodo's terrifying.
Frodo's terrifying. Next to, Gollum.
Oh no. Gollum's the hero of that story.
Oh, is he? I don't know what you've been,
Think about it this way. Without Gollum,
yeah,
nothing ever would have happened. The ring would never have gotten destroyed.
No. Well, not really, because he tries to... Well, no, maybe, actually. I see where you're coming from.
Because Frodo would have just become another, Isildur. And then Gollum's like, fuck this shit, and bites off his fingers.
Yeah. I think someone needs to write a thesis on Lord of the Rings.
He's an anti-hero, essentially.
Have you ever read the novelization of the films, The Lord of the Rings?
You're being a dickhead.
The Lego company patented all its bricks today in 86? Yeah, 1986.
Awesome. I freaking love Lego.
I kind of feel the same way.
Although it was much better when you were a kid and you didn't have PlayStations and stuff like that.
It's true, but I was thinking this over the last few months. I was hanging around on the Something Awful forums, and there was a thread about Lego on there, and I was like, this is freaking amazing. I want to get just an absolute shitload of Lego and just spend weeks building these amazing things. And I had this dawning realization: I am a man-child, and
there is nothing wrong with being a man-child.
Yeah, there is.
No, I think it's awesome. Be proud of your man-childness.
Well, you're more of a man-child than I am.
I very much am, so yes.
I have sort of fleeting moments of man-childhood. And,
we need to come up with a better name for it.
Man-child sounds really, it reminds me of, an old man who has a fetish for wearing nappies and stuff.
Juvenile regression.
Juvenile regression. Sounds too much like juvenile delinquent.
I'll come up with something sciencey. I'll write my honors thesis on it.
I thought you were writing your thesis on how Lord of the Rings would have happened if Gollum hadn't existed.
Well, that's not psychology. That's more your field. Character study. In English literature.
Well, I mean, I wrote my dissertation on, the power of literature to control social revolutions. I don't think Gollum, what would have happened in Lord of the Rings if Gollum didn't exist? I mean, to be fair, I pretty much failed my dissertation anyway, so it can be much worse. I probably should have just done the Lord of the Rings. Fuck it. Better idea.
This is the news.
My major headline this week arrow to the knee jokes are getting fucking old.
That's not news.
It is news, because I think people need to be made aware of it.
Well, they might just start making the jokes themselves. This is counterintuitive. This is, oh, frick, there's an internet rule describing this.
There's an internet rule describing everything retarded.
And I can't remember the name of the rules. There's something effect where the more you mention, oh no, that's a completely different rule. The effect I'm referring to comes into practice when, say, GoDaddy is pulled up on supporting SOPA and they're like, oh, we don't support SOPA anymore, but then they get more attention because they're obviously faking it.
SOPA. You know what I mean though, right?
Yeah.
Arrow to the knee jokes. Really getting dull. I mean, they started getting dull a while ago and I thought they'd die down, but they started off just being...
They got dull when I walked past the second guard telling me the same thing. It's like, how many fucking arrows to... Is this like a veteran support program where every adventurer who takes an arrow to the knee in Skyrim is like given a job as a guard?
Well, no, but it didn't bug me in the game, but it was the jokes it was mostly YouTube comments that have really started to get on my nerves, and but they started off, it was really simple, it was just really stuff that didn't really even make sense, and it was fine, because it was like, like in Skyrim. And then people had to make them a bit more intelligent. I don't want to say intelligent, there's nothing intelligent about being a retard. But, sorry, we have any retarded listeners. You know what I mean. And then people seem to have given up on that. I was watching a video yesterday, it was about The Old Republic, the new Star Wars game. And, like, the top comment was, I used to like Star Wars, The Old Republic, then I took an arrow to the knee. And it's like, that's not funny, that's not intelligent. There's nothing... I say I used to have a bow, but it wasn't mine, per se. I could have, I could see that happening. Yeah.
I want to shoot people in the knee with a bow and arrow now.
I don't want to shoot people in the knee, I want to shoot them in the face. I used to take arrows to the knee and then Tim killed me. Shot me in the eye with an arrow from point blank range. Now I'm dead. That can be the smear campaign.
So how is this like news?
This is my attempt at creating a headline. This is my attempt at infiltrating the media. By swearing and ranting about idiots on YouTube. Hey, I'm sorry, last week you do remember we had a genuine news story about a woman brushing hair out of her face.
Yes, that's right.
If that's news, I think this can be.
Touché.
What have you got for me? Well, not for me personally. I don't really. I care. I do.
It's more politics stuff, but it's actually it's not normal boring politics, it's kind of funny politics in a way.
All politics is funny in its own way.
Of course, yes. But, the American Congress, Senate, General Assembly, whatever you fucking called, introduced a bill that said that if you wanted to...
I see you're an expert on American politics.
It said basically if you want to collect welfare, you've got to go for drug tests.
Okay.
Obviously to, ensure that you're not sitting there going, get dull, spend it on weed. So anyway, they were doing this, and then they published an amendment to the bill that would make it compulsory for politicians to get random drug tests as well.
Yeah.
And the bill was subsequently removed from General Assembly.
Yeah. Oh dear.
It's funny. It's like, oh, you're so silly. This is in fact the effect I was talking about, because by removing it from the General Assembly for the time being, they've actually drawn more attention to themselves as suspects for taking drugs.
Well, they probably would do. I mean, would it not make it a politician more likely to be elected if he was such a total junkie? In America. Wouldn't you, I'm not saying in America specifically, I mean, wouldn't you gain the vote, the popular vote of all the meth heads? And there's a lot of meth heads in America.
Yeah, there really is.
I don't know if they're interested in voting.
Probably not.
But if we make drugs a more central, not if we make drugs a more central issue, if they make drugs a more central issue, maybe they should make all of their laws about legalizing drugs. And that's what you call the popular vote.
Yeah. It doesn't help, of course, that Congress is like a 7% approval rating at the moment. 7%, can you imagine that?
What do you mean? You're going to have to explain.
7% of Americans think Congress is doing a good job.
Oh, wow, burned.
Yeah. Although ratings for individual politicians are higher, it's 7% in terms of Congress as a whole.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of flack lately. Rightly so.
Yeah. Bunch of old men shouting at each other.
That's not even that. I mean,
that's the UK Parliament. So sorry.
Yeah, at least in the UK, at least in the Parliament in London, they yell at each other. At least they, have these funny little quips where they make terrible jokes and
I do say that His Honour the Prime Minister is a twit.
Yeah, and then everyone else goes rah 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 rah, and it's it's brilliant, and everyone's like, oh, tough humour. In America, they don't even get into it. You watch them; they're like leaning on one arm, falling asleep, and this is just as they're talking. This is as they're speaking to everyone. It's like, Soper,
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
It's just brilliant.
I want to see more enthusiasm from my junkie politicians.
I wonder actually, because I know I think it was Poland, there was, I think, an opposition member of parliament who just lit a joint while in session.
As you do.
As you do, just to get some attention towards the whole legalized marijuana thing.
Was that really the purpose?
I think it was, yes. Although, I can't really say.
You'd have to ask him. We'll see if we can net for an interview before next week.
Dear. What, you got anything else there?
I'm really tempted just to carry on in my previous vein, just trying to make up my own news. One thing I did want to talk about though. Do you know One Direction? I've mentioned them like a few weeks ago and went into a fairly inappropriate rant about what is essentially a bunch of teenage boys.
One Direction are a British-Irish boy band. Feck off.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think I called them a crowd of prepubescent pricks, but don't quote me. One of them this week apparently has split up from his long time, I think he's been with her a while actually, girlfriend. He's 17, right? And I think that makes him the oldest one, because they go down to like 15, I want to say. He's 17 and his girlfriend is 32.
What?
Yeah, they've just split up, but I know if it's the person who I think it is, they've been together for at least a year, if not a bit longer. I could be wrong on that, so don't...
No, the oldest one is 20, by the way.
Are they 20? Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'm getting...
20, 19, 2 18s and a 17.
A 20-year-old. They must have been around longer than I remember. But they came from X Factor, the best program in the world, obviously. Because it brings us these delights. People like... I don't know. He's 17 and she's 32.
It's not my place to judge people.
No, it is. Judge.
No, I don't want to, because...
She's 50 years older than him.
She's almost old enough to be his mother.
Almost, yeah. I mean, she'd have to be a young mother, but she's pretty... In theory, right, okay, no, she is old enough to be his mother, because there are girls who are 15 who have children now. I mean, not as a regular commonplace thing, but it happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
So, she is old enough to be his mother. It's not...
But I'm not in a position as a human being where I can say what is right and wrong like that. I know I often do.
No, I prefer it when you accept that you're not a human being. That's good. But that's fine. The only really... I'm sick of girls, generally.
For fuck's sake.
The female population. Because I suspect that's the only reason, really, that this band have got any success. I mean, from what I've seen, they're not, it's just another... I thought the age of boy bands and girl bands was in the past. I thought we left that at the end of the 90s.
Justin Bieber came along, and we were all like, oh, fuck, not this again.
And who came along?
Justin Bieber.
Oh, yeah, but he's one person. He's not...
Yeah, but it's like, it's a catalyst, you see.
Well, you're never going to get rid of that. But it's like, I thought we were into the age of individual icons and stuff. Buddy pop stars from MySpace. I thought we left, like, the Spice Girls behind, which is essentially what One Direction are. I'm going to start calling them the Spice Girls from now on, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't want to say, but it's a very cliched name, isn't it?
What, One Direction?
Yeah, it's very...
Well, they're a pop band, aren't they?
It's in that vein of cliched pop names, isn't it?
Hmm. Well, can you think of any pop group ever who haven't had an extraordinary cliche name? I mean, could you get more, like, cliche than Spice Girls? But what the hell is that?
Yeah.
What a horrific... When you look back on these things, it's similar to looking back on Motley Crue from the 80s and thinking, what are you wearing? What are you dressed as?
Oh, Motley Crue was brilliant.
Yeah, aside from the heroin and the...
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, that's disputable.
What do you mean it's disputable?
All that great music from that era was written and made when someone was high.
No, you see, I disagree. If you read, who is it? It's Nicky Sixx, isn't it? Who wrote the Heroin Diaries, and it's excerpts from when he was, really using heroin heavily. And you kind of see, like, the drugs did not help his music at all. Not really, I mean, maybe a couple of times, but for the most part, it had a pretty negative effect. And then you look at, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They had a pretty serious drug problem. And then they had all that, and they came clean, and they came back to music, and they wrote the album By the Way, which was, like, the best album they ever released. Was their first one when they were clean.
I really didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't know how old the Red Hot Chili Peppers were.
Oh, they were.
I thought they were like a 90s band, but it's like, no, they go way back.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I don't like the stuff they write anymore, but, I mean, you want to talk about the first album they released when they came off drugs. That was an amazing album. It was better than anything they wrote when they were on it, in my opinion. I think a lot of people do agree with that from what I've seen. So, I never agree with that.
In Soviet Russia, podcast listens to you.
So they recently released a list of how much the Metropolitan Police spend on various things, like soap and tea and whatnot.
Spliffs.
And they spent £35,000 on calls to the speaking clock in the last 2 years.
Are you kidding? Wait, whoa, hang on, I thought the speaking clock was free.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
I know so many people think it's free because they use it like to test out their phones and stuff if it's working. But it's not, it's a premium service.
I don't use it to test out my phone, I use it to make people think I'm on the phone. Like, when I feel like I want to look popular, like I'm on the street, and I want to make it appear that I'm in a phone call, I just call the talking clock and he's like, it is.
She. It's a she.
Sorry, it used to be a man, years ago. She goes, it is 1:37. And I'm like, yeah, well, I agree. Maybe you could punch those numbers through to me in an email. Bye. And that's just what I'm doing. And people think, wow, this guy's a big shot. The sad thing is I'm not kidding. I don't know how much money I will have lost.
It's 31p per call. I mean, that's only 1.5 calls per officer in the Metropolitan Police. I mean, it's £35,000 sounds like a lot for calls, but
yeah,
in terms of, court and going to court, that's the most, they'll jump on anything they can make.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the time right, and of course the speaking clock is the
realistically though. Why is there ever any need to call the speaking clock? I mean, I don't mean ever any need, but the vast majority of the time, you've got the time right there on your phone.
Yeah, and most of them are synced up with one of the world's atomic clocks, but the thing is, juries are dumb. And they're like, what's an atomic clock?
Is that have you ever been for jury?
No, I've never been for
I
jury.
think you should. And if you ever go, speak like that.
I'll just go against everyone in jury. They're all like, I'll convince them that the guy's guilty, and I'm like, actually, I don't think he's guilty.
And then you'll find out actually you don't need a unanimous decision, and you've just basically subjected a guy to jail. To prison, sorry.
Darn. But yeah, £35,000 is only 1.5 calls per officer in the Metropolitan Police. They spend £65,000 on teabags.
Oh, well that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm surprised it's that little. I spend that much.
And allowing a modest 4 toilet rolls per year gives a yearly bill of £34,000.
I mean, how many people are there in the Metropolitan Police? I mean, 4 toilet rolls between them all is horrific. That's just unsanitary. I mean,
I would say
in a year, that's going to last them, what, a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I'm really not sure how many police there are in the Met. Let me have a look.
Let's say a few thousand.
48,661 full-time personnel.
So that's basically what I said, a couple of thousand.
But, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's really not that much money, guys.
Hang on,
and everybody's in an outrage about this. Oh, they're spending too much money on stupid things. Oh, toilet roll, teabag. Oh.
Obviously you're saying 4 toilet rolls between each person. But is that
4 toilet rolls per person? I go through more than that. That's per year.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into the...
year.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into the specifics here, but 4 toilet rolls a year...
And that's, of course, I mean, it's public service toilet rolls, so it's single ply at most.
Yeah, it'll be the horrible, it'll be like, I would say sandpaper, but it's nowhere near as thick. It's more like the sand from the sandpaper, just bound together without the cardboard. 4 a year, I mean, that's shocking. Obviously they're gonna go through more than that. Maybe actually.
Yeah, but that's a minimum.
Maybe they've hidden the statistics. Maybe they've taken all the extra toilet roll money and just applied it to the talking clock.
Possibly, yeah.
So we mentioned last week about copyright, and I mean we mentioned the week before about copyright, and the week before, and every single episode.
Yes.
I don't want
talking about copyright.
I don't want to bring it up every week, but a friend of mine linked me to something the other day that was, I couldn't ignore it and I couldn't not bring it up because it's so bonkers. I don't really have anything remotely funny to say about it, but I just feel the need to mention it. So, this is to do with copyright law in the UK. There's a photograph that a photographer released. I think it's called Justin Fielder, released a photograph. It was based in London. It was like a grayscale background of London with a red London bus driving over the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And his image was copyrighted.
Right.
Someone else then, I think it was for a chain, like a tea chain, tea bags or something. And he wanted to make an image for his product.
Yeah.
And he took a photograph of a red London bus on the same road, but at a completely different location. Like, it doesn't look like the same photo on a grayscale London background. So the bus is red, London's grey. It's clearly...
It's a different photo.
It's quite obviously a different photo, and it's not really... I wouldn't even say it's trying to mimic it, because it's not... The only similarity that you can draw, apart from the bus being there and being in red, is Westminster being in the background, and it's from a completely different angle, distance, everything.
Essentially, it is a completely different photo.
Yes. Anyway, you know where I'm going with this. It's been found to be in breach of copyright.
That's a load of bullshit.
And it's so... I can't understand it. I actually went through, because I'm a complete loser, and sort of flicked through the judgment, what was actually written up about the case by the judge as he was going along. And he said himself, it was blatantly obvious that, first of all, no photo manipulation had been used, that the second image wasn't directly, physically, or digitally related to the original in any way.
Yeah.
And that not only that, because that goes without saying, really, not only that, but that the purpose of the exercise in taking the second photograph had been to avoid the infringement of copyright of the first. What he was saying was the steps that had been taken, the whole process that had gone into taking the second photograph, he could tell, was to not infringe on the copyright, but that it was still infringing on it.
So this judge completely disagreed with the decision he was making?
Sort of. I mean, I don't understand how you can make a judgment that you can tell it is clear the purpose of the exercise of something has been to, unless he just says it's failed. Unless just the exercise itself has failed, I guess, but...
It's like saying this song uses B minor in it, so it's obvious in copyright infringement on this song, which also uses B minor.
Well, this happens in music all the time. You have songs that are so clearly based on others. I always think of, I can't remember what Led Zeppelin song it is.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've mentioned this before, haven't we? I think it's Dazed and Confused, where Paranoid is, the riff from Paranoid is so obviously taken from that song. It's just unavoidable. The world goes on, but there you go. So apparently now, if you take a photograph and it looks like someone else's and you try to use it for any commercial means,
you're
slap.
in America, you'd be shot.
Yeah, well, in America, you'd probably be shot after being, hanged, pictures.
You'd be hung, drawn, quartered, and then shot, and then they'd piss on your corpse just to make sure.
And then they'd after they've quartered you, they'd take your individual body parts and put them on spikes outside of Congress, where they're all getting high inside.
And then they'd invite the British politicians over, and they'd go, rah, rah, rah.
This guy is obviously going to go to jail for 1,000,000 years, and,
probably, yeah. Actually.
Yeah, it's not a criminal offence, is it? But.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. We're not quite in a police state yet.
Not yet, no. So let's cheer the mood up a bit, because we're talking about lame stuff. You did mention Lego earlier.
Yeah.
And the Lego company has actually said, okay, 10,000 people voted for this, we're making Minecraft Lego.
Well, obviously that was going to happen, yeah. I mean, when I have Minecraft the page on my Facebook, and when they posted the link to the vote, they crashed the servers. So many people went onto it. You've got to feel sorry for the other people they were up against. I don't even know who it was, but like they ever stood a chance.
They really didn't. It is sad, isn't it?
I mean,
isn't Minecraft Lego like?
I was going to say, yeah, it's
Lego?
it's a bit of a cop out. I mean, how hard is it going to be?
It's just blocks of Lego.
They're not going to have to change anything. I mean, Lego's been going to a point where it's getting more and more complicated over the years to where you're making, the Death Star and stuff. And
Minecraft's there as well. Are people going to say, this is my 1-to-1 scale replica of the Starship Enterprise made with Minecraft Lego?
Oh God. Oh wow, that's like Inception.
That is, it's like...
Oh, that's terrifying. It's not going to make any sense to anyone who's not seen that video, but
I think it's the top result when you search in Minecraft on YouTube.
Yeah, it was huge, wasn't it? It was a big deal.
That's not the top result. It's not even on the front page.
Oh wow.
I'm disappointed.
Well, since Minecraft's gone so much more commercial, there's probably all their trailers and everything are going to be beyond that.
It's the first result if you type in Minecraft Starship, by the way, guys. But yeah, Minecraft Lego Minecraft is based on Lego.
It is.
It's basically Lego in a video game form.
I thought that essentially Minecraft Lego is just going to be pretty much the original Lego, isn't that?
I think all it would be those square 2x2 blocks. A load of those in a bucket. I'd buy that.
A bucket? They must have buckets already. No, they probably
buy a bucket Lego. Because that's just awesome. They've also released pictures of the new Lord of the Rings Lego.
Oh, okay. I thought they'd already made this, you see.
Oh, right. Well, they haven't.
No.
And it looks awesome.
Does it look better than Minecraft?
It looks better than Minecraft Lego, I have to say. If you search it in Google and look at the images, it's pretty clear that it's beyond awesome. They've got Rohirrim with round shields and armor and everything, and then they've got orcs. Oh, it's just brilliant. I want to buy it. I want to buy it all.
Oh man, you should set up your own YouTube channel and
Lego unboxings!
Oh god. Lego unboxings.
I have seen unboxings of, oh wow, just...
So, you're from, some scummy country other than... You're from foreign land, right?
Well no, I was born here and then I was, shipped out as a convict to a foreign land.
Okay, so you're a traitor to the crown.
Mm-hmm.
And Did you sort of, when you were in school in New Zealand, Brew, did you do like any proper school exams? I'm assuming you did. That lasted like at least an hour, let's say.
Yeah.
I was reading The Guardian this week, and there's a story in there. To be honest, I don't think I need to really go into detail about it. I'd say the headline sums it up, much in the way as the brushing hair out of face one. But the headline is, "Exams make our hands sore," say students. Is it just me, or generally newspaper stories getting dumber?
They only just started listening to us, or something.
I think so, and I think
maybe they'll figure it out next that exams don't work. And are just completely useless for determining the intelligence of an individual.
So I'm gonna take it that you're rubbish at exams.
I'm not rubbish at exams. I did quite well in my exams. I just think they're a stupid way of testing.
How would you test people?
Portfolio examinations.
So you're talking about like excessive coursework?
Well, yeah, like you would do for, say, art. I don't know if that's the way it works over here, but in New Zealand you build up a portfolio of your best work, showing different techniques or something over the year, and then send it in for marking.
We had that, and then we had a 10-hour exam.
10 hours?
A 10-hour art exam, yeah. That's the GCSE that we had. It was split in half, so you had
10 hours?
5 hours one day and 5 hours the next day, yeah.
That's just...
That's not even the A-level, that was a GCSE. I think A-level was like a week.
At risk of getting into a philosophical discussion about art, you can't rush art like that.
Jesus, man. You say some cliche stuff. You can't rush art.
It's like if someone said to you, write a novel in 10 hours. A really good novel.
It's definitely not like Twilight, bitch.
I can't discuss this because we'll run over our time limit. I think we already have.
Whatever, time limit. Like, our time limit used to be an hour. Quite a few times we went almost to an hour and a half, and I had to edit it down. What's your thought on modern art, CJ? What even is modern art?
I think
I mean, if someone makes a painting now, that's modern, and it's art.
Well, art is essentially language, isn't it? It's a way of expressing one's views. And, I mean, I don't have any... Dumping a bunch of rubbish on a white sheet in an art gallery and calling it art, yeah, sure, you can do that. But that's like mixing Klingon, JavaScript, and French into one cohesive language and then talking to someone expecting them to understand it.
It's tricky because people always say that the process they went through to get there is art, or the people's reaction to it is the art.
Oh, those guys are just like...
It's irritating, isn't it?
Those are art critics. Art critics are just stupid.
Yeah,
they really are.
You remember the guy who dropped like 10,000 bananas in a pile in Trafalgar Square?
I do not recall this. Apparently
that as well. There was another guy who took 10 empty tin cans and shat in them and sealed them back up, and that was art. One of them sold for £10,000.
I mean, anybody can call anything art. It's...
Anyone who sort of takes a crap in a can and then tries to sell it, if they didn't call themselves an artist, they'd be hospitalised. You know, that's the kind of thing that they... I guess we should probably wrap this up.
We probably should.
I had one other thing, but it was just... It's a weird one. It was how this woman punished her child by taking photographs of him, like holding up things saying like, I lied to my family and stuff, and then putting them on Facebook.
Nice. I completely applaud this woman.
Why?
I think that's an awesome way to punish your children.
He's like 6 years old and he's like crying and stuff and publicly humiliated.
Well, he shouldn't have lied then.
But what if we said, like, I think you look nice today, mummy, and she's like, you fucking liar, I look an absolute state. And she hits him with this sign, and she makes...
I think you're taking this, I think both of us are probably reading a bit too much into this.
You can visit our website at thinkstuffpodcast.com.
You can Facebook us at facebook.com/thinkstuffpodcast.
You can find us on Twitter at ThinkStuffPod.
You can Google Plus us at the Google Plus link, which is on our website.
You can email us, send us hate mail. Or news stories, that'd be good. If we had people send us things that are interesting. Anyways, you can contact us at email@thinkstuffpodcast.com. You can also sponsor shows, buy podcast merchandise, find us on iTunes and Stitcher, blah 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 blah.
We should probably mention Reddit, actually. Because you can get in contact with us via Reddit.
You can do, yeah.
Because we're hip, and someone actually got in contact with us via Reddit.
What do they have to say to you?
They said the following. So I've been listening for a while now, and I want to tell you that you guys are funny as hell. I wouldn't be surprised to see this podcast really taking off. Keep up the good work.
It's very
warm fuzzies.
Hugs and kisses. You know, one thing I've got to bring up we actually haven't done this week, which is introduce the podcast, so maybe we should do that now.
Oh, frick. Yeah.
So, you know, it's the 28th of January 2012, this is Think Stuff Podcast, I'm Tim.
I'm CJ.
Goodbye.